Welcome everybody to the 4th episode of the Boom Bap Bros podcast. My name is Pat G at PatG563 everywhere online, and I've got my co-host with me today, my brother ALEC Galandi. What's going on, ALEC? How are you doing today?
Doing pretty good here. Just got back from vacation not too long ago, so excited to get back in the swing of things with the pod.
You didn't catch a tan, did you?
Not quite. Got some more freckles, but that's about it.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
And we've got Roger at RajDog_16. What's going on, Roger? How are you doing?
I'm doing good. This past week's been a little crazy, just with, work stuff and family stuff and just a bunch of stuff going on, but ready to get back to the cast. And, everybody make sure to follow me, like they said, RajDog_16 everywhere online. Let's run it.
Yeah, let's go. Always good to get back into the pod. I mean, the summertime, I feel like, is just hectic in general, and I feel like this has been something I can look forward to every week where we can just talk about stuff that we see, news that's going on. And yeah, today's going to be another episode where we're breaking down new releases, talking about different stuff that's been going on in the hip-hop sphere and media in general, just talking about all that stuff. So yeah, what I first wanted to get your guys' take on was the very first very first performance that Tyler did of the Call Me If You Get Lost era, and he actually performed Lumberjack at the BET Awards. So I got this pulled up to show to you guys, but I just wanted to get your guys' take on this because he's pretty much recreating the video Lumberjack. And I'm not gonna have the audio going because we're not trying to get clapped here, but you can see like everything is flying away on stage, or like looking like it's supposed to be flying away. Like they really pulled off the effects from the video pretty well, in my opinion, and I thought it was dope. But it's always cool to see Tyler at an award show too. Check that out. I want to show you guys. They must have this on strings or something, because look, every single piece of this house goes away except the fireplace, and it's sick. But what do you guys think about this performance of Lumberjack?
Yeah, I thought it was crazy with the effects, how they pulled that off with everything like blowing to the side like that, recreating it like from the video. I was really impressed when I saw their performance. I didn't think they were gonna like shoot that high with it, but he really went off.
Yeah, he had some real production value behind that on the BET Awards, and I'm glad they supported him too.
I'm a big fan of Tyler, the Creator's like imagery and like a lot of his visuals and stuff, because I think he's just a very creative person, and like I've always admired his style and just like his personality and who he is as a creator and as a person. And so like I just think like he's just overall just such a good performer. So like he always does good in music videos and on stage and things like that. So like I was pretty impressed with what they did there, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that too. He's definitely like, yeah, he's got the artist laying down and he's got the performer laying down, like each like separately. And yeah, I'm still like, I've always loved his visuals too. I'm still waiting on a movie that he's been saying he's been working on for like 7 years or whatever.
Oh my gosh. Well, even on Call Me If You Get Lost, he did say like on Blessed, that, he's doing a lot of different creative stuff. So we'll be seeing more visual stuff from him, I'm sure, in the next decade as his career continues to progress. But yeah, I think sitting with the album a little bit too has made me appreciate it even more, because we turned out our review the week after. Like we had a couple of days to sit with this album before we turned out our review, and I think I've just gotten a better opinion on it as time has gone on. Like it's really grown on me as I've continued to listen to it. So good on Tyler, and I'm really appreciating the album that he's put out for us. He actually also released 2 visuals for tracks as well. First with Corso on June 29th. So he's really put an era together with the music and the different short videos that he's putting out promoting it, because it's sort of giving more relevancy to his album as it goes out. He did the rollout where he was, promoting different songs and showing you visuals into sort of the world of Call Me If You Get Lost. And so now with the Corso video, and then we're also going to talk about the Lemonhead video that he's put out, he's every week hitting with another video and making sure that people are like tuning into it and, you know, keeping his music in the conversation. And that's a really smart way to not even with the rollout before the album, but after the album, get people to continue talking about it. And so we've got these clips here of DJ Drama actually appearing in the Corso video and, you know, announcing Tyler Baudelaire, and then he's coming through rapping, and yeah, DJ Drama is getting cut back to, but it where are they even at? It's like an old school like restaurant, or even who knows where they're at here, but he's literally just rapping on stage. Oh no, it looks like a birthday party actually. Check it. But they're in like an event hall or something with speakers set up, and it's just a birthday party that's going on.
Yeah, it's got the whole intro part where Tyler's like sitting next to the other guy, and he's like, "Come on, man, just do something." And then he just hops up on stage.
I got you. Yeah, if we scrub through it, we can see it. Yeah, so then he just goes off with Corso.
I don't think that's the whole thing. I think that there's the part before that is on YouTube, but it's not on.
It's not on Twitter.
Yeah,
got you. Yeah, we're not looking at the full version here because Twitter caps you at 2 minutes. But I thought this Corso visual was sick, and as I was saying, he's just continuing the conversation going on along the lines of his album. And this intro on this one, I don't think we'll get claimed or anything. I'll show you guys this.
Yeah, just a few seconds here.
Mr. Bobo was a very talented individual, but I don't think I was doing my best at articulating what I wanted.
So he's acting like this dude is playing the horns on the song, and he's struggling to figure out what Tyler is wanting with the music. But here, let's listen to just a clip. So those horns there. That's what he would be sort of directing this dude to do, and Tyler's trying to tell him, it's like, what is this? This isn't a part of the album even. This is literally just for the video, being silly. And then, you know, he comes in with the track, and it's a pretty hype track, and he's boating on the grass. So he's got like a luxury boat and his, you know, luggage in the back, but he's just boating on the grass, showing off his new chain, which is apparently like more than my house costs or some shit. And just flexing with all his cars. Like, he's got tons of cars here. Here, let's go through slow.
Yeah, it's got the one shot of like all of them together somewhere.
There we go. This is what I was trying to show.
Yeah.
Is that a Bentley, or is that the Rolls?
That looks like a Rolls with the head.
So yeah, so that's the Rolls that he's talking about on the project. Then he's got both his Beamers. And then what is that? Another European style car. He really likes imports. There's a McLaren. But yeah, he's just pretty much showing off his wealth here. And then he's like, yeah, I got all these bikes on the back, and that just looks pretty ridiculous. And then he's got like an old timey bike that he rides off in before the Call Me If You Get Lost theme plays. But yeah, I just wanted to show a little bit more attention and follow up with our last podcast and talk about what Tyler's been releasing since we reviewed the album in full. So if you haven't listened to that, go ahead and check that out. But we'll go ahead and get on to the rest of the show now. So the next track I wanted to talk about actually comes from Nas. And I don't know if you guys really peeped his last album like that, but the album that came out last year, I'm pretty sure it won the Grammy, but it was executive produced by Hit Boy, and it was just a really solid listen through, like front to back. Like that track with Anderson .Paak on it is super good. He's got a track with Cordae on there. Like, well, actually, I'm not sure if he has a track with Cordae on that album. I might be tripping about that.
I didn't think he did.
There might be another feature that I'm getting confused with, but just in general, his last album was super good. And so now he's following that up pretty much with the first song that he's put out since then last year. And like, he won the Grammy earlier in 2021 here. And it's actually an older song that was recorded in 1995. And that was before any of us were born. And like, Cordae is featured on here, and Freddie Gibbs. And so these modern artists are getting featured on this track that was originally recorded back in the day, but it was all put together by Spotify. And shout out to Carl Cherry, actually, because he was the A&R on the project that sort of got everything together and got this track released on Spotify singles. So the track is called Life is Like a Dice Game. And so Hit Boy's producing this as well. So they're continuing their collaborations after the album. And so I just think this is a dope track, super chill vibe, like good hip hop, and some artists that sort of bridge the age divide in hip hop a bit, if you really think about it, because I've got the Genius pulled up here of what they're saying, and like Cordae is what, a year older than me, so he's 24. Freddie Gibbs is in his 30s, and then Nas is in his 40s. So this is really a, coming together of different eras in hip hop almost. Cordae being the newest era, I guess you could say, and Freddie being maybe about 10 years ago, but he's really stepped into his prime recently. But it's dope. Like Nas does the intro and the chorus here, and then Cordae comes in with his verse. Cordae sings the chorus before he tosses it to Freddie Gibbs, who comes in with his verse, and then we get the chorus again before Nas comes in. And actually, this is the verse that would have been in '95 when he recorded this. And yeah, this is just pretty dope, and I'm glad to see that this track was released after all this time. And it's super cool and interesting. Like, artists nowadays are getting to work with these legends in the rap game, where I feel like that level of collaboration maybe wasn't always able to go across different labels or different like West Coast and East Coast in the past, you know what I mean? So it really bridges that divide, and I think that the track is just a good vibe, and I would love to see more stuff like this. Like, I'll give Spotify their credit where it's due, because I like the dude that was the A&R behind it, but I would love to see more collaborations and different stuff from the vault revisited and worked upon by artists that are coming out today with popular music. So what do you guys think about this track? It's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool, especially like connecting the generations like that. And yeah, especially cool because it's like, it would have been like one song if it would have been like we're hearing like a Nas verse now. Then like I think it was really cool that we got like this era Nas, like with these guys at their stage in the career here. I thought it was kind of interesting how you're able to like merge them together that way, like when you go back in the vault like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's epic when the new school and the old school come together and they collab and make a good project, because I feel like the old school know how to pick the best of the new school and then just put out a really good project. And so that's what I thought we had here. And just like the production was good, it was definitely a vibe. It was very jazzy almost, but like very boom bap reminiscent. And it was just I thought it was a fire track. I'm a big fan of Cordae. I really like Freddie Gibbs. And
Nas is just a
Nas
legend.
killed it as well. Yeah. Legends never die, man.
Yeah, seriously, like his music is timeless status, and I'm sure Freddie and Cordae are trying to aspire to be like him. I feel like anybody that's come out after Nas has aspired to be like him in rhyme style and just in many different ways, and how he sort of positions himself in the game. So yeah, shout out to Spotify for getting this done. Shout out to Carl Sherry for putting it all together and getting the verses, sealed and approved on this track, because it's a good one to enjoy. So yeah, that's pretty dope. Like, you really don't see anything like that. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't remember like a song from the vault being revisited and improved upon by artists that are coming out and being popular nowadays.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that before. Unless it's like kind of like with like posthumous like verses and like records with like artists, like, but usually those aren't like going way back. They're like more recent.
Yeah, definitely.
Or I guess with that Diamonds Are Forever song with J. Cole and Guru. I guess that one they
Oh
kinda did
yeah,
that.
that's a good comparison there because that was on the Gangstar album, the final Gangstar album that they were putting together after Guru had, been passed away, and that was all put together. Yeah, all the features and everything on that were all put together, way past. So that's actually a really good comparison. That whole album of Gangstar, the newest one, was done that way. So, yeah. All right. Well, now we have our boy Brent Faiyaz and Drake to talk about because Drizzy's featuring on the new song with Brent Faiyaz, "Wasting Time," and it was actually leaked first. Like it was not supposed to be leaked online. Like it got put on Twitter and people were sharing it and talking about it before it actually came out on streaming or anything. So check out the cover art for this. This is very reminiscent of old school, well, maybe not quite old school. At this point, it would be, but late 2000s Neptunes era stuff. And really, Pharrell has his touch on here because the Neptunes were on production. So this is just a really cool culmination of artists working on this track. And Brent Faiyaz was the artist who put it out, and Drake was featuring on it. But most of the song is Brent singing, and he has his verse and everything, and then Drake comes in with a pretty long verse. Like I didn't count the bars, but it was a long one. Like this is a 5-minute song.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then Brent comes in right at the end to close it out. So yeah, this is a bit longer than I would expect from like a single or anything, but correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't Brent Faiyaz just put out an album? Roger would know because he's the biggest fan out of us three. But this song seemed just like a Lucy that either just sort of worked out afterwards or they had been sitting on for a while. I'm not sure. We could just speculate. But I thought it was a decent vibe, and Drake came in there with some funny lines and just flexed on us a little bit. And Brent Faiyaz always, his voice is really nice. But what are your guys' thoughts on this track?
It wasn't the best track to me because I'm a big Brent Faiyaz fan, so I've been through most of his discography, and like it just wasn't at the top for me in terms of what I know he can put out. But like when you were talking about the length of the track, I expected that. If we're talking about a Brent Faiyaz track, and then you got Drake
really?
on top of it, and yeah, like Brent Faiyaz is just known for making it's because they're either really long tracks or they're very short tracks, like 2-minute tracks. But then you got Drake on here, so Drake always wants to showcase his singing ability and his rapping ability, so you need a little extra time. But but it was a good track though. I mean, I messed with it. I think the last Brent Faiyaz album either came out last year or the year before. It was called "Fuck the World," but that was a fire album. That
I
album
thought
was
I heard
so
something
good.
about something coming out in 2021, but yeah, I listened through that project off your recommendation, and there's some bangers on there for sure. Like there's some really good tracks. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to new music from him. We got to keep up and put out a review if he's getting something new going.
I thought the song was pretty cool. I really liked Drake's part. I thought he was really kicking it back to it, like especially with I was like how he like wrote on the Neptunes beat. And like with his rap, and it really felt like he was taking it to like the Nothing Was the Same-ish type era. Like he was kind of in that pocket, it kind of felt like.
If Certified Lover Boy is in that pocket, like I think Nothing Was the Same as an album might be like I don't know if that's Drake's best per se, but
It's like tied for my favorite from him. It's like that and If You're Reading This It's Too Late. Those are like the two.
Yeah, I did read this week that Certified Lover Boy is being mixed, so hopefully sooner than later we'll be able to hear if this continues on there. But yeah, this song with him and Brent Faiyaz was definitely a vibe. And like Neptune's production in general, I'm always gonna check it out because they're legends, And yeah, I just think overall this is worth checking out if you're a fan of either of them. But hopefully Brent Faiyaz gets some more quality stuff dropping. But oh my God. Go ahead.
It's funny that you mentioned the Neptunes production just because I was actually talking to Cicero yesterday about it, and he was talking recently about some newer music he was listening to that was produced by the Neptunes, and he just wasn't impressed. Like He felt
Oh.
like it just wasn't. Well, he can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure he just was saying it wasn't his style. Like, it just didn't seem as like he's going in a different direction with the Neptunes production, like based off of his previous stuff. And shout out Cicero, Stubby Stan on all the socials. That's the man right there. But yeah. I'm always a big fan of Neptunes too. I'll definitely check out anything Neptunes related, and if I miss it, I'm sure Cicero will definitely make sure to, throw it my direction. So
Yeah, that's disappointing to hear that he's not super impressed with their upcoming or most recent work. So, yeah, I mean, this track was cool to me, and I felt like because of both of these guys being R&B and I mean Drake being rap, like we're gonna get the best version of Neptune's production, in my opinion, is like some more R&B esque type of songs. So, yeah, we'll see. Looking forward to Pharrell continuing to make music because he's just a genius in general. But Drake, oh my God, this man can't catch a break. This guy was caught in Dodger Stadium on a date with Amari Bailey's mom. So Amari Bailey is actually on the same high school basketball team as LeBron Jr. Now that LeBron's obviously out in LA. And there was a couple of pictures shown of Drake at Dodger Stadium with this pretty much all-star basketball player's mom after he had been seen showing up at the games recently. And he even took Michael B. Jordan to a game where LeBron wasn't even there. He had been to a couple with LeBron beforehand, but this man got caught in 4K. Y'all just got to see it to believe it. So on a date, you can see right here, he is caught on the third baseline having a romantic dinner. But yeah, a lot of people thought that it was interesting that this was who he was out on a date with. People are always going to speculate about his love life. I mean, he's been very public about it, and Pusha T caught him super hard hiding his son. So
well, that's what I'm thinking. What's Adonis think about all this?
Oh my God.
Is Adonis getting replaced?
Leave that boy out of here, okay? He's not getting replaced. He's just getting an older stepbrother, okay? Oh my God. But Hip Hop DX, shout out to them. They had a great article showcasing some of the funny ass tweets that people were saying. Drake is really about to be Amari Bailey's stepdad. And so here's a picture of Amari Bailey, who's already going to UCLA. Like, he's not even graduated high school yet. He's going in 2022. And he's just that great of a basketball prospect. Here's him with his mom, and then here's Drake with him. And now here's Drake with his mom out at some, ridiculous date trying to impress her.
Rented out the whole stadium.
Seriously. So here is Drake with Michael B. Jordan there, and Drake's love interest right here. You can see her. And the hilarious tweets just keep on going. So people saying, when LeBron see Amari Bailey, because he's pretty much like a coach figure. And he was the one that started taking Drake to the games. Like, he just got to hug that man. Like, they just got to hug it out, figure it out. This was hilarious to me. Drake, when he saw the potential of Amari Bailey, I'm not the stepfather, I'm the father that stepped up. He's just trying to take the place and swoop in.
I could see Aubrey putting that in the track.
Oh,
I could see him dropping that.
You could see him actually just taking the tweets, clowning him, and turning him into bars, if you could even call it that. But oh my God, there were just clips. Chappelle Show, this goofy dude. This was funny. It was your Stephen A. Smith video reaction of the episode here. Amari Bailey, Drake, man, it's plenty of fish in the ocean. That's my mom. We're friends. And then Drake is saying,
"Oh, you want to pause? Okay, I know about that. You don't know about that. I know about that."
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. So
Stephen A. memes.
yeah, so this is how Drake is going to be on that high school team. This is how he's going to be riding with them on their travel games from now on. And then here's a funny clip.
What's up with your mama? That's how I feel. What's up with your mama?
Staple. But that's how he's talking to Amari Bailey when he's there. But yeah, the funny tweets just continue. Drake, after the pic of him and Amari Bailey's mom surfaced.
Niggas caught me slipping once, okay, so what? Niggas caught me slipping.
Oh, and then Amari Bailey when he saw the pic of Drake and his mom.
I know that ain't who I think it is.
Drake praying that the Raptors draft Amari Bailey so he can keep smashing his mom. That's the last one that we're going to show. But, oh my God. I just thought that it was hilarious. This was actually last Friday on July 9th that Drake was caught out on this super expensive and, you know, impressive date. But he's trying to become a stepdad to this basketball prodigy. What are your guys' take on this, or is it just something hilarious to react to?
Hey, man. I think he's got to keep his priorities straight. Justice for Adonis, man. You got to chill out trying to get a new son. You got to
Oh, my God.
pay attention to what you got, man.
Love yours.
Man, do what he's gonna do. That's Drake. I mean,
He been wild.
hey, I'm not gonna clown him. Like, if he want, I mean, he can date whoever he wants. So, like,
Well, I'm just saying. At
I
least
mean-
at least she's of age this time, you know.
Oh, okay. Yikes.
Oh,
All the
no.
Drake stands
Oh no.
furiously
I
typing
don't know,
right now.
he's
but-
not raiding the middle school anymore.
Oh no. I'm glad we
Keyboard
can put that behind
warriors.
us. Yeah, he's gone the whole other route. He's going towards the MILFs now instead. He's totally switched up. Oh my gosh.
I'm just waiting for I'm waiting for Drake to hit up Tracy Ellis Ross. When's that happening? I'm expecting that.
Bruh.
Come on.
You think he's just gonna keep going older now?
Oh gee. He hits a big.
Just gonna look
She's
for
like-
bigger and bigger butts. What you talking about, bro?
Sheesh. Well, oh my God, you saw what this woman looks like. So let's hope they, you know, figure something out. I'm hoping for the best for Drake. So we'll send some positive energy to sort of round out our conversation on him.
Justice for Adonis, man.
Oh my gosh. All right, so we've got the new J. Cole and Boz track, The Jackie. I thought it was just going to be a Boz track featuring J. Cole, but it looks like on YouTube that's what it says. On Genius it's saying it's J. Cole and Boz as the artist. But this was a pretty hype track, also featuring Lil TJ, and they released the video of it alongside, you know, it's released this past Friday. What'd you guys think of this track? Like, we got blessed pretty much after Boz had some really good efforts put into J. Cole's album, The Off Season. You guys can go ahead and check out our review if you have not already of that album. But we're getting blessed pretty much with another J. Cole and Boz song, and Lil TJ does this thing on here too. And T Minus, again, who produced quite a few tracks on not just The Off Season, but also Revenge of the Dreamers 3. He's been in Dreamville's corner for a while. He's producing this track, The Jackie. So what do you guys think?
I thought it was really cool. Like especially like kind of how Boz was really in his singing pocket on J. Cole's album. Now J. Cole's on here and now he's singing a ton.
Yeah.
Like they're just rubbing off on each other. And I thought it slid pretty well. I thought Boz's part was like it's like yeah, I said like a ton there. But as it goes along, I think it gets catchier and catchier. Like by the end of the song, just the repetition it gets like super like banging out with. Like I think it's really a good radio song, you know.
Yeah. I would say it's a bit repetitive, but I enjoyed it for sure.
I thought it was a banger. I was bumping that track quite a bit. I like the pocket that J. Cole's been in with that like just enough auto-tune to like make it sound different, but like he sounds so good even when he's singing. Like I appreciate what he's been doing with you know, with mending the, you know, putting together the two styles, like the older style and the newer style, and just like him and Boss together. You know, they're a fucking duo. I'm a big fan of anybody on Dreamville. I don't think I've ever been disappointed by a Dreamville artist. And Lil TJ, I mean, I like Lil TJ. He's on my he's on a playlist I got. I mess with a lot of his music. You know, everybody knows that Pop Smoke song, the one with Pop Smoke that he had. That was a pretty good track. But yeah, and plus the RDC sketch. Who doesn't love RDC World? Like, come on.
Oh my gosh, I gotta show you guys that. So check this out. So we've got pretty much the premise of the video being J. Cole's their Uber driver, and he goes and picks up Boz and Lil TJ here, and they get in this drop top. I'm not exactly even sure what kind of car this is, but yeah, they're just dripped out and vibing. Like the whole track, well, the video premise is that they're going to a party or pretty much planning a party and just hanging out and having a good time in New York City, because they're all three from New York City, or, you know, New York residents currently. I'm sure, you know, Cole is moving around and stuff, but yeah, all these guys are New York based MCs, let's go ahead and say. And yeah, they're just having fun on this video. Like, they got some fine women in here, they're just hanging out, got some homies. And then as we get to the end of the video, let's go ahead and show an awesome cameo. How about RDC World? You can check them out on YouTube, RDC World 1. And they have funny skits. Like, they've been YouTubers for a while, so shout out to them. But they were in the end of this video. Let's check it out.
What's up, man?
Just yelling at him until they realize who he is.
Jermaine?
That voice crack, though.
You can.
So he's been a Dreamville fan for a while, and the meme pretty much is that he says, Jermaine, Cole, and is just totally blown away by all of Cole's music.
The
like,
reel is back. The veil is back.
Flow bananas here, peel this back. And he's just the biggest fan of J. Cole. And so now they finally reached out to him and got him included in this video. You know, probably flew him out to New York City. Shit. Like, they really got him involved here. And well, it's actually a comedy collective. They do skits on YouTube. So
yeah, I think the main guy is Mark Phillips.
Yeah, Mark Phillips here is the one who's sort of known for that meme specifically. But I'd be remiss to not mention, like, they have a group of guys that are doing some really good work on their channel. So go ahead and check them out if you do not already know them. But they're just being hilarious at the end of this video. And I thought it was cool that Cole and Boz were able to get those guys involved and sort of pay homage or like nod to the living meme status that Mark Phillips has in the community.
Behind the scenes clip of RDC and J. Cole, and they're both sitting there and they say it at the same time. They're like, Jermaine, Cole, Jermaine, Cole, and then they say it at the same time, and then they just bust out laughing, and then they like have the crispest handshake like I've ever seen, and it's just a vibe. It's such a vibe.
Awesome.
Yeah, they were also seen recently in the studio with Cordae. So check this out. This is just a clip that we were able to pull up, but they're just hanging out, like listening to a snippet of music. I'm not sure if Mark Phillips is also rapping in here, if there's just a Cordae song, but they're all just hanging out, listening to the vibe. Like, I think it's just cool to see the mending of worlds of creatives. Like, these guys were hip hop fans just like us and creating content, just, you know, doing their best to get something going and able to support each other and get enough of a following until they're, you know, getting in music videos and going to the studio to listen to unreleased music. Like, you can see Cordae here, and they're just chilling out and having a good time. So, you know, shout out to them. I think that's super inspiring for us as, you know, us new YouTubers and people in the creative space in general to just see that crossover is cool. And their videos are great. So I'm also just glad to see in general that they're getting more praise and welcome from mainstream artists. All right, so next up we have the Post Malone music video that just dropped on Lyrical Lemonade's channel, and it's actually titled Motley Crew, and the video is featuring a ton of major label artists, hip hop specifically, but it's really a hype track that seems to be promoting either a new project from Post or just in general a track that's meant to be enjoyed for the summer. Because I feel like now that 2021 is here and people are releasing new music again, there have been some more singles to talk about, and so this video is pretty dope, really well produced by Cole Bennett of Lyrical Lemonade. So shout out to him in the Shy. So we're not too far off, and would love to meet up with him someday, because he has done some really big stuff, like Eminem music video. Now, I mean, he's doing Post Malone with all these other artists there that he can make connections with and work with in the future. Like, he has done a lot with his platform and just built it from the ground up. Like, he did a collaboration with the Chicago Bears last year. So, I mean, good on him. And this Post Malone video was pretty dope because it's all NASCAR themed. So it's all about, racing and different luxury cars and stuff like that. So you can see in the visuals, like, Post Malone's got a jumpsuit on as if he's a NASCAR racer, and he's got actual NASCAR racers involved in the video, not just the major label artists that are here. But you can see like Tyga. This is a really quick clip, but French Montana, Big Sean, tons of people here, and
you got Ty Dolla in there. I don't know if he's in that shot, but
yeah, there's just a ton of them in the video, but they cut super quick. But the one thing I did want to mention, there was some controversy with this song, though, is that people were saying that it was super inspired by Playboi Carti and his specific sort of, not exactly mumble singing or anything that specifically has a name on it, but his style was just sort of pretty blatantly seen as influencing Post here. And if you listen to the track, you could catch a glimpse of that, but I'm not sure where I stand on that. I feel like that's just in general becoming a hip hop style. I don't know, Playboi Carti might have popularized it, and he's the one that people meme about not being able to understand and having to decipher all his lyrics, right? But I'm not sure if Post coming in here and doing that same type of singing rap where he's sort of slurring his words a little bit and not being super pronunciative of everything that he's saying is exactly a bite. But how do you guys feel about that?
I don't know. Yeah, it definitely felt like he was in a familiar like pocket or like kind of flow. Like I wasn't thinking like Cardi specifically when I heard it, but like it definitely sounded like not what I'm used to from him, and like it sounded like a specific like I don't know, like I'd heard it before, like that like type. But yeah, I feel like there's like multiple like different artists that do that type of like flow, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. I think it gets a little old, but yeah, I thought it definitely seemed familiar and like out of the norm for him.
I like Post Malone. I think there's a time and place for Post Malone, but like what really stood out to me in the video specifically is that his jumpsuit is like black and yellow, which is also the same colors, like color scheme he used for, I think, his most recent album, Beer Bongs and Bentleys.
Right.
And so that's what that made me think of. I wasn't sure if there was a Bentley in the video, but there might have been. I don't know.
That's what this bigger car, that's definitely not a race car that he's driving around. This is definitely a Bentley.
I thought it was a Rolls, but is it a Bentley?
Let's see. I'm not trying to. Here we go. Might be a Rolls. Oh,
it looks like a Rolls.
Yeah,
can't tell.
I can't tell either. I mean, we're obviously not luxury car aficionados.
I'm pretty sure it's a Rolls. Like that's what the Rolls look like the body in the front.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
But he's got like all his sponsors on his jumpsuit as well as the car, as if he's a real race car driver, but he's just driving a luxury car that I'm sure can hit, close to race car speeds, but not nearly as fast as one of those behind him there. But this was like an expensive video shoot, though, is what I was thinking of when I was watching. I was like, yeah, all these artists probably had appearance fees, and they got these guys from NASCAR to show up too, and they rented out the NASCAR stadium so that they could shoot this. Like, this was probably an expensive video, and I think it's dope that Cole Bennett was the one trusted to execute it. And I mean, his visuals in general, I'm always gonna peep, even if it's an artist that I'm not super familiar with or have on my radar. So yeah, I just thought this was a really cool collab, and I'm not sure if I'll be listening to the Post Malone song. Like as you said, Raj, it has a time and place. He's not really in my rotation like that, but we'll see if he's putting anything else out or a new project is upcoming. All right, that brings us to the couple of albums that just dropped this past Friday that we wanted to talk about. Not too in depth because we will be doing a review on the Vince Staples self-titled project, but that dropped as well as IDK's You See For Yourself. And so both of these have some, super good potential. Like, we were looking forward to listening to these throughout the week, like getting ready for the new Vince Staples, listening to the different tracks he had put out beforehand. And I mean, the IDK album is stacked with features as well. And his first project was perfectly enjoyable. I mean, not my favorite, but I thought it was a good piece of work, and I was looking forward to more music from him. So, yeah, what you guys are like? I know we're going to be talking about Vince Staples more, but what do you guys initial thoughts? Just not too much because we want to have people come back for our next episode of the podcast here.
Yeah, more than anything with the Vince one, I was really impressed. I just wish I had more than anything, because like this is his shortest release that he's had. I'm pretty sure it was
22 minutes and 2 seconds.
Yeah, 22 minutes. Then the last one, FM, was only 30 minutes. So I've only got, and like plus singles and whatever, I've only had like an hour of like new Vince over the past like 4 years. He's leaving me wanting more.
Yeah.
And the IDK I haven't listened to yet, but I've been looking forward to that one, and especially the one where it had like the MF Doom and a few other guys featured on. Like, it was like a
West
really
Side Gun and Jay Electronica.
Yeah, it looked really stacked. I'm looking forward to listening to that one.
Yeah, I haven't quite gotten to the Vince Staples stuff yet. I've heard, like, obviously we know the single that dropped, but and I've heard probably other songs, but they weren't like, I wasn't allocating time to sit and listen to that music. It was just, it popped up for me. But
Right.
I definitely do want to allocate time to listen to that Vince Staples and that IDK. I'm actually familiar with IDK. I have a couple of his songs on my playlist. One's called Once Upon a Time. There's another one called Mazel Tov with A$AP Ferg. And then there's actually one that I really enjoy with Kenny Beats and JID, which is called Serial. I don't know if you guys heard that one, but that one's solid. He seems like he doesn't really come down one lane. He seems like he's on two different lanes. Like, he's got a moment where he can be a little bit lyrical, and there's times where he's just like, the production's on point and it's just a banger. Like, that's
It's just
pretty
a
much
vibe.
how I feel about his music. Yeah, and so I'm excited to sit down and actually, like, ingest the music and really vibe with it. So
Yeah, I haven't heard much from him, but like what I've heard in passing, like I'm a really definitely a fan of his flow, and I liked he was on a Domo Genesis song a few years ago, and I was really a fan of that one.
Yeah, I'm super enjoying, like, this Vince Staples album was everything that I wanted, I feel like, except, maybe a couple more tracks, right? But his collaborating with Kenny Beats is on point, and I'm just excited to get in more in depth on who the other collaborators were on this project and break down the release process that Vince put together as well, because I think that he's just an artist that you got to follow if you're interested in hip hop in general, but also West Coast. And I don't think he's independent. Like, this was put out by Blacksmith Recordings and Motown Records, but also licensed by UMG. So Vince is he's a major signee, and he just released his self-titled work. And it's sort of like a flag in the ground of where you can sort of use this as a benchmark for his music in the past and in the future. So I'm looking forward to talking more about that. And I listened to the IDK album. I'm not going to give too many of my thoughts away on it yet, but the features were all right. IDK was all right as well. I'm sort of like mixed on it. I think I need to give it another listen through because I was putting it on in the car, but I'm not sure how I feel about it yet. I like the Vince project a lot more, just off of, this past weekend checking the projects out. All right, that leads us to talking about Logic, who actually has quite a bit of stuff going on since we last talked about him. We mentioned that he had come out of retirement and was getting, back into the industry. He had never retired from music, but he had stopped releasing stuff as Logic on, streaming services or anywhere else you could find it. He had only really been putting stuff out on YouTube for free to listen to. So he came back at the end of June with the YS Collection Volume 1. And so this is a collection of songs from Logic's past mixtapes. So he did those mixtapes from 2009 to 2013. I don't think there's anything from his 2009 project on here. It's probably just from his 2011, 12, and 13 projects. And they were really hefty mixtapes, like 20 plus tracks each. You can go ahead and download them and listen to them in full if you have a datpiff.com account, or just, search them up on YouTube. But there's a lot of samples that have been used in these. And he finally got, how many tracks here? Okay, so he got 13 tracks from his old mixtapes cleared and put on this collection. And then there's another track that seems somewhat more recent called Tokyo Nights that's on here as well. But you can listen in on these tracks. Like, there's samples used on here, and it seems like there were a couple missing that I would have rather, switch some songs out with maybe. But it was cool that he's going back and, not re-recording anything, but working behind the scenes to get the clearance to be able to put this stuff on streaming. Like, he has to pay any sample that he uses. He has to talk with them, and they're either whoever owns the music, like a master's holder, the actual artist, or the artist's label or people working for them that work on licensing, where he's getting the samples cleared so then he can put them up on streaming and pay them a percentage or pay them a flat fee to be able to do so. So I'm not sure he's really making much money here, but he's just doing this for the fans' enjoyment. And it's some essential Logic tracks. Like, if you had only known Logic from maybe his first couple of projects a couple of years ago, I don't think you would have got the full picture of him if you didn't know about his mixtape era. Like, you wouldn't have been able to sort of approach his music with an idea of where he came from and where he's at now if you didn't know about these tracks. So it does seem like it's a bit late. Like, he's been working on this for a while, because the newest track on here is, Tokyo Nights, which was previously unreleased. But other than that, the newest track on here was released in 2013. So it's cool to see it on streaming now. People can enjoy it there. Just another place to enjoy the music. But what are your guys' thoughts on sampling in general? Like, I think this brings up a really good debate on how people should be able to use and reinterpolate music that has already been released and put out, and that whole process, because he isn't able to release this, even though the songs are done, on streaming until he gets everyone to sign off and say, okay, if he used their sample. And, they have behind the scenes dealings on how much people are getting paid. But what are your guys' thoughts on that in general and that whole process? I feel like it's just really hectic. And one thing that I wanted to bring up was, J. Cole at the end of 2014 Forest Hills Drive, he was even talking back then about how it was such a grueling process to get all the samples cleared so then you can just release the music and give it to the people after it's created. Should there be able to, appeal to people without waiting to release it? You say, I'm going to promise, a certain percentage to you, or should they continue with the process now of doing it before the music's ever released?
Yeah, I know, like, at least when like maybe not at first when they released the mixtapes, but when artists like Logic did now, and with how Drake did it with the, I think it was the Dark Lane demo tapes when he got the it was that, or
He did another one as well.
yeah, it
that
was called
some older
something
stuff.
else. It was called something else where he like got a bunch of his old mixtape stuff and like old B-sides and stuff out, and was able to get that on Spotify. Like it makes me happy when their artists are actually finally able to like get those going, even if they're not like making the most money off them because of like what they got to clear through and like what they got to pay out on there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes me happy that like stuff that they made back then is able to like shine on streaming now. I can go back to it, but I'd prefer it better if like the process was just easier for artists to like be more like liberal with what they use from like other media, and if yeah we can just get those like original mixtapes out in their like original form.
Like honestly, I think the artists are definitely owed their dues. Like I think that everyone should get some kind of compensation from it if it was a sample that was used that they created or came up with on their own. But like I don't think it should be this hard for an artist to be able to release old music with those samples on it. Like you said, like I don't think there should be a pre-approving process necessarily, because you're not stealing their work, you're still making your own music and your own,
Mhm.
you know, your own art. But like
It's transformative
I would see
in
it,
nature, is how you could phrase
and
that. Like it's
I
not the
would
same thing.
see it more. Yeah, and I would see it as more of an appreciation of the other person's work too. And so, like, just give them a percentage and stop being fucking stingy.
Yeah.
Like,
I feel like that's been a debate with hip hop for as long as hip hop's been a thing, just because like revisiting and sampling and reinterpolating like the older music has been the way that hip hop's been created. So
like literally the other day like from the beginning of hip hop, like the other day we were listening to it was the I'm forgetting it right now, but it was the song that had the same bass line from Rapper's Delight.
oh yeah.
And it was like Good Time or something, but like that song and like the very first like rap song, like it was already using like this like bass line that was like essential to making the beat of the very first like stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I just hope that we can get that situated in a better way, because it's just a lot of middlemen getting in the way and people trying to stick their hand in and get some money where they can. Like artists should be able to agree upon a specific percentage without having, so much crazy back and forth or saying no, you can't use it, and just sort of getting in the way of the art being released and enjoyed by people. But I mean, check this track list out for the Young Sinatra collection though. There's some essential ones, like All I Do is from his Young Sinatra, the very first mixtape. And then I think One might be as well, but then there's a lot that are from the 2013 mixtape.
Yeah, he's got 5 a.m. on there.
Yeah, so I think his 2013 mixtape, Young Sinatra Welcome to Forever, is just an amazing project in general. And there's a lot of those tracks on here. I would say that makes up like the majority almost. And also Tokyo Nights by Like is tossed in there. But yeah, it's just cool to see that re-released, and I hope that getting those samples cleared and out to the people becomes easier. But we actually don't stop talking about Logic there, because he revisited his Bobby Tarantino mixtape series. So he's gone on to announce that he's putting out more tracks, leading up to Bobby Tarantino 3. He said fun tracks and real raps is sort of the tagline, or what he said on July 1st about the project. And so he's released 2 singles so far, sort of leading up, and they couldn't be more different vibes, honestly. I thought the first one definitely was a Bobby Tarantino type of vibe, like that more trap type beat style and a bit more, modern influenced. But then the second song was a totally different vibe. It was pretty unique. I mean, a bit slower as well. And I feel like with the BPM of Bobby Tarantino, I'm expecting something a bit faster. But the first track that came out, it was before he announced that it was actually going to be Bobby Tarantino 3 that was coming up. But the first track announced was Vaccine. and the title in general is questionable. It's like you're almost going to be cringy if you name a song Vaccine, but he didn't even like try and talk about COVID or anything like that. Like I
Yeah.
felt like the title was just sort of thrown on there. But what were your guys' reactions to this first single from Bobby Tarantino 3?
Yeah, I thought it was weird with the title, how it was just like I don't think he said the word a single time in the whole thing. It was just maybe he's saying it's like, oh yeah, this is like the cure for like whatever, I don't know, but like something like that. But I thought it was pretty good, and I guess there was also Migos, their vaccine song. I thought it was alright.
On Culture 3.
There, you know about the pandemic, how it goes. But I thought this track it was all right. Like you were saying, it definitely felt like a Bobby Tarantino product, but I thought it was pretty good. It was all right.
It definitely felt very Bobby Tarantino-esque. Like I messed with that a lot. Like I'm a big fan of the Bobby Tarantino projects, especially the second one. The art gave me cyberpunk vibes. Like I felt like this could have been a cyberpunk song, especially if you think about the production too. But yeah, it had nothing to do with vaccines, which is fine. Maybe it's just, a cure for our lack of Logic music lately in his retirement and trying to make us feel better about him retiring and coming back. But it was a good track, and it was short and sweet, and I was a big fan of it. I'm just a Logic fan in general, so
yeah, I'm
he's
always
got my
looking for
support.
his new releases, like looking forward to listening to it and hoping for the best. But yeah, check out this cover art. It's pretty much an ink blot that they put a line through, and shout out Juan, who is the guy working at Bobby Boy Records doing all the art and stuff. I saw he posted a bit of a timeline of how he came up with the concept for this single art, and it was really cool to see his process a bit. But it does sort of have some cyberpunk vibes. It's funny you say that. I didn't think about that before, but maybe it's just like the neon yellow color as well. They use that in a lot of their promotional stuff for Cyberpunk 2077. But yeah, that was the first track, and he had put, you know, this announcement out that this track was coming out on June 30th, and then on July 1st, then announces that Bobby Tarantino 3 is actually the project that it's going to be on, and that's what we're leading up to. Before this past Friday, he put out Get Up, which was a totally different vibe. What were your guys' thoughts on this track? It was a much more mellow and laid back vibe than Vaccine being like in your face and quick like you would expect.
Yeah, this one definitely reminded me more of the like supermarket type vibes than like the Bobby Tarantino stuff that he was putting out. Because he definitely has like the guitar going in there and then the singing. He did come in with the rapping, which he did on the supermarket too. He had a lot of songs like that where it's like pretty slow guitar singing and then like one verse and out. So like I felt
Yeah.
like his like kind of formula for this reminded me of like what he was working on back then.
It was a vibe. I feel like a lot of us can resonate with the title of the song and like the meaning behind it, this past year and a half and how crazy life has been. But I do really appreciate the acoustic bits of it. Like I thought it sounded really good. It was a nice little element to the song. And plus you know, like I feel like like I was happy he came out with a verse on that. Like I would
I
have been
think
fine if he just
uplifting.
stuck with the singing.
Yeah, I think uplifting Logic is probably one of my favorite pockets that Logic can get into, especially songwriting. Like when he's trying to uplift the listener and be inspirational, I feel like his story really resonates with that style.
Yeah, like I
Yeah,
feel
well,
like
like
J. Cole's one of the best at that, and like when Logic kind of gets into like that sort of a lane, that's where he's like doing his best.
Right.
Well, like I don't know. It just makes me think of 1-800 Logic or Black Spider-Man Logic or like the
Well,
songs off of those albums. Everybody, like it was a very inspirational track, and I was a big fan of it. I liked it a lot. Both the singles were fire.
Yeah.
I liked them all.
Yeah,
I
I'd
feel,
say I like the second one, and I will be revisiting the second one more than I would Vaccine. I feel like just in my opinion, Vaccine was a little bit forgettable, and I mean, yeah, it's the comeback track or whatever, but it didn't resonate as well as this track did with me personally.
Yeah, for me, like it just kind of felt like I'd heard it before, you know. Like
Mhm.
I didn't think it was bad or anything. It just felt like yeah, I've heard like pretty similar to this before.
Well, great. I'm glad that we were able to talk about that. I mean, he didn't put a release date out for Bobby Tarantino 3 yet. He just said sort of this is the era, this is where these tracks that I'm releasing are going to be ending up. But we'll see when that drops. I'm definitely going to be listening to it right on the night that it comes out, and I'm sure we'll want to talk about it here on the podcast. So stay tuned for that once that drops. The next album that we wanted to talk about actually isn't out yet. So this is sort of leading on to what we're going to be talking about in the future following our Vince Staples review following this episode. We're actually going to be looking into Pop Smoke, and his self-titled album is releasing on July 16th. And this has been after, if you don't know already, sort of tumultuous and tragic story of Pop Smoke, who is an immense talent who's taken from this earth too soon, man. Like, he was gone at the beginning of 2020. I think it said February, when we were looking into it before the show here. And I mean, just tragic that he never got to see how successful he's been since then. Like, they've been releasing music periodically since his passing. So the summer of last year in 2020, they put out an album in July, and that had a ton of music that people have been listening to and going back to and saying, you know, it proves that he wasn't just a fad or anything like that. Like, he had real talent. And that's why I think it just makes it more sad and tragic that he's not here with us anymore. But after that album came out, there were 3 different EPs that came out with tracks that were on the album and then some other tracks as well, sort of mixed up and a bit confusingly released, not gonna lie, on streaming. And I was at that point questioning how they were handling his estate and how they're handling all the music he had recorded before his passing. Like, I didn't want him to be exploited, you know? And I don't think anyone that has an artist that they're enjoying and see pass away too soon, or, you know, something comes up to where they, you know, might get off their label or something, nobody wants to see the work or the art exploited for profit. You know, that just really waters it down and takes away from how special it's supposed to be. And I was worried that was the lane that they were going to be doing after those EPs were dropping in the fall of 2020. But we've had some features come up from Pop Smoke recently in some AAA projects. Like at the end of 2020 in December, there was actually the Kid Cudi project where Pop Smoke had a feature on there, and then some other, you know, AAA named projects recently as well that have been leading up to this summer. On July 16th, the self-titled Pop Smoke album is going to be dropping. So we'll see how that's going to be. I'm hoping that since it's self-titled and apparently going to be a decent track list, that this will be, you know, the culmination of the best music that they could put together of what he left behind and had produced before he, you know, was tragically killed. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on Pop Smoke in general, as well as if you're looking forward to this album.
Yeah, I haven't looked into much of his solo work, but I know like whenever I've heard him on a feature and like a few of like the really popular songs by him that I've heard, like he always is going in. He has a really unique style. Reminds me of kind of like DMX too, who was also tragically taken from us. But like that type of like grizzly, like and like 50 Cent, who featured on one of his songs and like produced one of his albums. Like I feel like it's definitely that kind of like 2000s lane. I feel like he really has like that kind of style. He's got that edge to him that was kind of more common back then. But yeah, I'm excited to see what comes out next from what was left of what he had made. And yeah, it's just too bad that there won't be two more. Like I wonder how long this will be going on. However many more years they'll like be able to like use what he had like stored up.
Right.
So just like Alec was saying, like I haven't listened to as much of Pop Smoke's discography just because, I've really only stumbled upon his more popular music. But eventually it did kind of lead me to explore a little bit more of his music. But like I said, it's been a long time. And, it's sad and very tragic to hear of his passing. We've lost a lot of, artists these days, young, and, it's very unfortunate. And so,
Yeah, he
rest
was
in
like
peace, my
around
man.
our age. He was just young, seriously. Like had a lot of stuff that he could have done with his career, and just so tragic he's gone.
But I do know that, I guess people were considering his music genre, like that they were kind of putting him in the category with like drill, like at least earlier in his career. Like, but I think he's kind of evolved over time and it became a little less drill. But I just feel like it wasn't as much drill in the production. Like I feel like he still stayed the same Pop Smoke, and so the way he delivered his music was, still the same way. It was just like, it was different. That's what I liked about Pop Smoke, and so I'm really looking forward to listening to his project. I mean, a lot of the projects that have come out recently and in the last 2 years about that came from artists that had passed. Like it was an album coming after their death. All of them have been good. So I'm definitely looking forward to giving it a listen for sure.
Yeah, even like Mac Miller, when his posthumous stuff was coming out, it was like some of the best stuff he ever put out.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that had been completed beforehand, and
Yeah.
he had a collaborator that was like really familiar with
his
Mac
was
as
a
well.
unique situation.
Yeah, that was a unique situation for sure. And I mean, as I was saying, you never want to see, after an artist is no longer with us, their art being used in a way that is sort of not authentic, because they don't have control at that point. It's just giving it to the fans to be able to enjoy at that point. You're not trying to mix it up too much, in my opinion. I that's just how I feel about, getting mixed up with artists that can't have a say or interact with how their art is being released to the world. But I'm looking forward to the self-titled album. I'm hoping that it's a good way to wrap up Pop Smoke and finish, the music that he left behind and get it the most polished way possible. And I'm hoping that it is, after it's been over 6 months since we've had a new release project-wise from his estate. So yeah, that's all we were aiming to talk about here today on the 4th episode of the Boom Bap Bros. So I wanted to thank everybody for listening. If you made it this far, definitely give us a follow at Boom Bap Bros everywhere. And then you can also follow us individually on social media if you're trying to keep up with us and hear what we're up to. So yeah, just thank you everybody for listening, and we really appreciate it. More podcasts on the way. We've been enjoying putting these together and having these conversations shared with the audience. So if you have anybody else that you think would be looking forward to these episodes or be interested in the conversation, feel free to share this video. If you're on YouTube, give it a like. If you're on a podcasting service, go ahead and follow us and you'll be notified of new episodes.